Welcome to the Great Loop aboard the Perch. I'm Kim Russo with America's Great Loop Cruisers Association, and this is leg 46 of our Great Loop adventure. Today we're going from Hastings to Peterborough along the Trent Severn Waterway, and as you can see from our overall path for the day, the first portion is on Rice Lake, so a little bit more open water cruising, and then we turn into a more narrow channel and continue towards Peterborough. We left Hastings on a pretty gloomy morning and almost immediately came upon this bridge. If you can see the channel markers there, they want you to go through a very narrow section of that bridge, and it looks like it's almost impassable. As we got closer, you could see that it is a wide enough channel to get through, kind of an optical illusion at the beginning. But we are cruising in the rain. The rain would continue most of the morning. Sometimes a pretty heavy downpour, sometimes just a mist, but overall, in addition to the rain, it was a very cloudy, gloomy, just misty kind of day out there on the waterway. Michael, on his first loop, had encountered a lot of weeds on Rice Lake, so he was a little bit concerned about this area. At one point, he did think we might have had some weeds wrapped around the props, so he backed down and briefly put the engine into reverse, then went forward again, and everything seemed to be fine. So as you leave Rice Lake, you're making this turn to the starboard side and entering the more protected, less open waterways to continue there on the Trent Severn. Again, rain was really the story of the day. Unlike our other legs on the Trent Severn, we only had one lock to go through today, and that would be towards the very end of this leg. So thankful for that, because it's never fun to be locking through and to be the person on the bow doing the line handling unprotected when it's raining. But we worked our way through this winding passageway, which was beautiful even in the rain, but probably even more lovely in the sunshine, past some farms, some cottages, and just the beautiful scenery that is part of the Trent Severn. At this point, we are nearing Lock 19, our only lock for the day. Lock 19 is one of the older locks on the system, and we would not have fit in there with the other 3 looper boats we had been traveling with on the previous day. But we arrived there with one other boat. You can see inside the chamber, the lock walls are still the original limestone, where a lot of the locks have been replaced or covered with concrete and cement. So this is a view after the water has risen, and they are opening the doors to let us out of the lock. You can see the lock operator on the left is pushing real hard to get her gear turning, as is the lock operator on the right. And this lock actually had an additional person on the lock wall, turning a gear on one of the walls and then walking across and stepping across the little gap and turning the gear on the other side. So I'm not sure why or what it is different about this lock that it works with that third operator. Perhaps some of our viewers know and can put that in the comments. But one of the older locks, as I said, and very historic. As you come through Lock 19, you're on just a short trip across the lake to get to Peterborough Marina, which is where we would tie up for a few days before continuing on and going through the world-famous Peterborough lift lock, which is a highlight for many. So that's a shot of Peterborough Marina. Our overall day was about 5 hours underway. We went a distance of about 33.6 nautical miles. The average speed was close to 7 knots, which is a little bit more than the 5 knots we were averaging on days where there were many locks. And our maximum speed, again, was about 10 knots. So there's another look at the full view of our day's cruise. Again, the first half was a little bit more open water type cruising, although not very open, but just not a narrow channel there on Rice Lake. And then we moved into a little bit of the waterways, the rivers of the Trent Severn Waterway, went through one lock, and arrived in Peterborough. We'll be back with our next leg soon, and that will include our trip through the Peterborough lift lock. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be back with leg 47 soon.